Hello everyone, and today we're back into another Loomian Legacy tier list. And today, we're making a tier list on all of the route rares in Loomian Legacy, and, well, all of them except for the beach. And I guess also some of the events other than Sweet Retreat, because, yeah, there are a couple other route rares. Like, I get there's Icicle in, like, the Jolly Village, and there's, like, a couple others in, like, the Halloween events, but I'm not going to count those for this list. I will count Sweet Retreat because those Loomians can actually be rallied. I also can't do the Beach Loomians because one of the most updated tier lists is currently down, so there are no updated tier lists with the Beach Loomians, so yeah, I can't use that. So, unfortunately, I cannot rank Samarine and Lumello. If I were to rank Samarine, I would rank it in good, and if I were to rank Lumello, I'd rank it in great, if y'all are wondering. Other than that, though, every other route rare is here except for Route 1, because, yes, I get Twiddle could be, but Twiddle's also in Route 3, so I don't count Twiddle. Everyone else, though, is here, and they're all exclusive to their own route, I guess other than Florian. Technically, Florian isn't, but, yeah. We'll still count it because it is the daytime route rare in the woods. So, let's start off with Florian. And a lot of these route rares are actually pretty solid. But when they get bad, they get bad. Florant is bad. That's all I gotta say. And it isn't even really because about Florian itself. It's mainly his stats. His stats are just bad. Very bad stats. His typing is awful. Bug Plant is an awful typing offensively. And yes, you can Sap Plant dodge, Poison dodge, Pestilence dodge. I understand that. And I think it even has Energy Surge, which is good. There's no doubt about that. But it's weak to Icicle Traps. It's quad weak to it. And it's the most predictable Loomian in the game other than Sorelli. Only Sorelli is more predictable than Florian. And that says a lot, because you know what Florian is going to do. Sap Plant, dodge. There's no doubt it could be dangerous, but everyone knows what Florian's going to do, so they're just going to go into a counter to Florian, and there's a lot of Loomians that flat out counter Florian, so that's why it's in the bad tier. Now let's actually get into a Loomian that's actually good. Swalder, you're good. And yeah, Swalder is in the good tier. And it does a bit of everything. It's a pretty solid tank. It has low energy, which does suck. That's kind of its one flaw. It is low in energy. But it has very solid moves. Its coverage is good. It has Mega Punch for metal types, which is awesome. Can Poison Stall. Can Click Rejuvenate. Has Brawn Boost, so it can be a setup sweeper. And the webbing ability makes so melee attackers have lower speed. So there is a lot actually going to Swalder. I'm even debating about putting it in the great tier. But I think, looking at the rest of these Loomians down here, I think if I were to compare Swalder to the rest of these guys, I think Swalder is only in the good. It's in the high good tier, though. There's no doubt about that. Another advantage it also has is since it's a toxic type, it can actually get rid of poison barbs, which gives it a massive advantage for that as well. So, Swalder has a lot going for it, and that's why it's ranked pretty high in the good tier. Ragoon is placed okay. And there's a couple reasons. One, there's just a lot of dark types, which kind of outclass it. A lot of dark types at the moment are really are just way more powerful than Ragoon, so it kind of struggles with that. But it doesn't mean that Ragoon is bad at all. Ability Thief is a really good ability because you can steal your opposing Loomian's ability. And since you have 90 speed, you can outspeed quite a few scary Loomians with some scary abilities. You can quick pounce with Eclipse and take total Eclipse, and then boom, that Eclipse can't do anything to you. You can take Ace on a Wrestling when a Wrestling is low, and now you have Ace. You can take Appetite from a Sorelli, and then boom, now you have Appetite. So there are some really good abilities that Ragoon can take, so it can be very good, but it needs one of those good abilities in order to be fully utilized. If not, it's just your typical average Loomian. It's the definition of average. So, yeah, it's going in the okay tier. Sochi's going in the good tier. There's no doubt about that Sochi is an amazing wall breaker. It can actually penetrate through a lot of stuff. It also has amazing coverage as well. It's just as good as coverage as Deludrix, is not better. But It's so frail. It has the same problem as the Ludrix. Priority moves absolutely destroy this thing, and also any neutral attack can sometimes one-shot Sochi, so Sochi kind of struggles with taking hits. But if you're able to get Sochi into a nice matchup with baffling it in, it could do some awesome work, especially with that amazing coverage. I do think it is better than the Ludrix because I think the wand it has makes it hit a little bit harder, even though the Ludrix is faster. But yeah, it's a little slower and it's just as frail. I don't think it's as frail as the Ludrix, especially on the range side, but it is still very frail. Ventation is going to be odd. It's going in the great tier. Yes, I know Obsidragon could sometimes be considered a better melee tank. That's understandable. But people tend to forget about this thing. It has two amazing abilities. Protective Shell makes it so it doesn't get critted on. Awesome. You can't get crit. You can beat Tundralin in a brace battle. Because you'll get the crit first, not Tundralin. And if you run Sharp Edges, you just chip the opposing Loomian down a certain amount of health. Amazing, considering you're a melee tank and can soak pretty much any melee hit in the game. Even super effective hits you could soak. Like Thunder has to 3-hit KO you with Thunder's Chomp. And you can burn stuff with Geyser, which makes it really good. It has Maroon that can get rid of Loomian's energy, and it has Tsunami to hit pretty hard. It has Frostbeam for coverage, but it's kind of hard to run that when you would want to run Brace for it to do more attack damage with Battering Ram. So yeah, Ventation is in the great tier. I think it's barely in the great tier, but I think it's in the great tier. Oh, I think it always does well when I use it. It always does well when I use it. I know that Tundralin is a thing, and Obsidragon is a thing, but honestly, Ventation is pretty good for at its own right, especially with Sharp Edges. Sharp Edges really is good on Ventation. There are times and times again, but that extra chip damage makes the difference of a battle. Obsidragon, great. Resilience Body Crash. Resilience Body Crash. Spirit types can counter it? No! Primal Slash! Primal Slash hits them super effectively, and it has amazing coverage. It can either run 2 moves, be Slumber, and Burrow. That's an option. It can even run 3 moves, be Slumber. It can even run the Mud Spatter Troll set. It can run the Drudge set, and there's just a lot of ways you can run Obsidragon, and its melee defense is so high. Almost as high as Ventation's, but with a resilience boost, you can actually get even higher, which definitely puts Obsidragon in the great tier, and probably one of the best route rares so far. Yersul technically isn't a route rare, but if I wanted to pick a Loomian that's the rarest from the cemetery, I decided to go with Yersul. We all know about Yersul's freaking shenanigans. Sharp Claws, 110, Sharpen, Chase Down, Slap Down, Priority. Oh my gosh. Pep Jab. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we don't talk about Yersul. Yersul is OP. He's banned in tournaments for a reason, and it's just... It's OP. I'm sick of talking about this thing. So let's move on. Gobodemic is in the good tier. Now, that one is questionable because there are other Barbs users that could also be used. Dorgo has pretty good functions as well. They're pretty much the exact same thing as Gobodemic, except they have different moves. Dorgo has like Slapdown, Primal Slash, Surrogate, which really helps that out in terms of support role. It also has Baffle. But with Gobodemic, on the other hand, it has Barbs, but it also has Health Gift as a support role and Provoke. So Gobodemic is just as good as a support role as Dorgo, if not even better. It was between Dorgo and Gobodemic for the number 1 spot, by the way. I decided to go Dorgo because I think Slapdown and Slapdown and also Primal Slash coverage and Baffle does give it a little bit more support, but Gobodemic is faster, and honestly, it can be better. And plus, since it's a poison type just like Swalder, it can actually get rid of poison barbs itself, which gives it another massive advantage. So, Gobodemic's really good support Loomian. Very good health gift user, very good as just an attacker as well, and it can place barbs and poison barbs. Tyrex is in the great tier. There's nothing to be said here. It's a melee tanky Loomian that can terrify other melee attackers. So yeah, melee attackers get destroyed by this thing. And if you run clever, it's pretty range tanky as well. And while it has a lot of weaknesses, it also has a lot of resistances. This thing is really powerful and can actually be one of the best tanks on certain teams. So, yeah, Tyrex is definitely in the great tier. Stratosor is also in the great tier. Yeah, Stratosor, yeah, only has two weaknesses, fire and electric. And I consider Stratosor the bug killer, aka it can pretty much destroy any bug in the entire game. The only bug I can even think of that can 1v1 Stratosor is Tower Claw, and it has to be a certain matchup, like Pestilence, and if the Stratosor uses Perch while you click a Rough Up. So there's only in certain situations that Tower Claw can beat Stratosor. And now it has Magnify, so it could set up and beat those metal types it couldn't hit before. Other than Thunder, which we'll get to in a second. But yeah, Stratosor is definitely in the great tier. Definitely one of the better route rares. We'll go with Thunder. Oh my gosh. It's also in the great tier. Its coverage is absolutely insane. All the chomp moves got buffed to 70 power just yesterday. And, you know, it's Thunder. It hits pretty hard, has amazing coverage, and is very fast. I do think it is the weakest out of the great tier Loomians. But I do think it does belong in the same company as them. I think it is better than these three. So, yeah, Thunder being in the great tier makes a lot of sense. Malmerk's in the good tier. Malmerk does have a lot going for it. There's no doubt about it. It's a bulky Loomian that can heal, which is awesome. It can bulk up, which is awesome as well. But it's quad weak to Toxic. And there's a lot of Toxic types being used in the meta right now. I see Gobodemics quite often being used as leads. Snagoops often used as leads. Ventilins are just super common right now. And yes, while you may have Driving's Force, you know, you don't want to just spam Driving's Force because you don't do enough damage. So you want to use other moves or bulk up to try to sweep. So yeah, it just doesn't quite work out. It has good coverage, and it hits pretty solidly hard, but it's out of the great tier because of the sole reason it's quad weak to Toxic. And the fact that it only has 41 speed kind of sucks. I get that tanky Loomians are supposed to be slow, but 41 is slower for tanks. I mean, Terraclaw and Metatoad, two massive threats, outspeed it. So, yeah, good luck with that. It's still good, though. There's no doubt about that. Photosynthesis while also hitting pretty solidly hard and Driving's Force. Yeah, it makes it pretty good, but it's not in the great tier. Pogonash is also in okay. It hits pretty hard, and it's probably really good in 2v2s, but I don't think I could put it up with Swalder, Sochi, Gobodemic, and Malmerk. I think it is around Ragoon's level in terms of strength. Maybe a tad better than Ragoon, but yeah, I think Pogonash stays in the same spot as Ragoon. Has amazing coverage, though. It can hit a ton of different typings, can poison with Baneful Bash, and can actually be very solid as a tank, especially in 2v2s. Probably one of the best bait users, but I guess Copperage could be considered better, but, you know. Yeah, but not many people do 2v2s, so it's pretty rare to use Pogonash. So, yeah. Pogonash is pretty good, though. It is a pretty good Loomian, but I don't think it's as good as the guys in the good tier, so it is in the okay tier. Now, the worst route rare in the game. Who is the worst one? Florian. It's not even close. It's not even close. Everyone knows what this thing is going to do. Sap Plant, dodge. Pestilence, dodge. Poison, dodge. Everyone knows what this thing is going to do. And even if you do Pestilence first, the opponent still knows what you're going to do because, you know, if you trap a counter in, you're not going to stay in on it. So, yeah. Florian is probably the worst route rare by a long shot. Now, who's the best out of the Loomians in the great tier? If I were to give my top three, it would probably be Obsidragon, Ursul, and Tyrex. Ventation is just out, and Stratosor are just out, though, because I don't think they have quite enough. But who is the best out of these three? Obsidragon, Ursul, or Tyrex? And I think the best one out of these three would probably have to be not Obsidragon. Obsidragon's pretty tanky, but I think Tyrex and Ursul do a little bit better. And this one is really close. We all know Ursul is an Uber. Ursul is an Uber, and Ursul is out of tournaments when Tyrex isn't. So, this answer should be simple. It should be Ursul, right? But I have different opinions. It's gonna go for Tyrex. I know what y'all are thinking. Ursul is OP and with priority makes it overpowered. But there is one crucial flaw with Ursul. It has pretty low melee defense. If you're able to live a Ursul hit and are a melee attacker, you can pretty much chip this thing down. Oh, and Shadow Sprint is kind of a thing. Shadow Sprint pretty much one-shots Ursul from any Shadow Sprint Loomian. So, yeah. Ursul does struggle with Shadow Sprint. While Tyrex, on the other hand, while it is weak to Quick Punch and other brawler moves, Terrifying does kind of counteract that. And with Health Amulet, keeps it alive a lot longer, while also being able to hit the Tundralin Venilin meta. Yes, this hits the Tundralin Venilin meta a little bit better. Earthquake can hit Venilin, and Steel Crusher can hit Tundralin, which makes it very good. So Tyrex is the best route rare in all of Loomian Legacy. I hope you guys enjoyed this video of me doing this tier list, and I will see y'all all later. Bye-bye!